Well, hello, Dwayne Brumitt here, and I've got my guest, Mr. Barry Weinstein. You know what? It's hard for me to call you Barry, but Mr. Weinstein, how are you doing today?
Never call you anything but sir.
Oh, well, I want to give everybody, can you hear me okay?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. I want to give everybody just a number one. I want everyone to know what this Facebook Live is about. And I was talking to Mr. Weinstein. Gosh, what was it? Back in November or December that we got.
Yeah, October, November, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And I was just talking about the fact that you know, we were talking about our leadership program and the things that we do at the studio and those type of things. And I don't know how we happened to get it. Well, I guess we were talking about your son. And let me give a real quick backstory. Mr. Weinstein's son, gosh, what's it been, 12 years, 10 years since he's been at the studio?
Probably 12.
12, okay. And he's one of my, Alex is one of my black belts. And you guys had, gosh, you were there for at least 4 or 5 years.
About 6 or 7, yeah.
Okay,
we were
okay.
There a long time.
Okay, yeah. And so, anyways, we went out to lunch and we were chatting and talking about different things. And we just happened to get on the fact that, you know, Alex has about, what'd you say, about a semester or semester and a half
to go.
Yeah, of college. And then I started, you know, sharing with you about, you know, man, I wish I would have known some of these things about college before my our middle son went to college. And then I was talking with you about the fact that we have our youngest, because you asked me, because you obviously were there when Keegan was born.
Completely.
And you know, you asked how he was doing. I said, yeah, another year and a half, he's going to be going off to college. And so we just started talking about, you know, how do you plan for college? And I thought to myself, my gosh, you know, I equip all of my students with our leadership program on a bunch of leadership topics. But I think where I fail, or that there's a lack of, is, you know, allowing the parents and even the students know and understand what it's going to take if they do want to go to college. You know, how can they get there and make sure that they're not walking out with you know, a bunch of debt and maybe even debt free, depending on the time frame of things. And so that's why we're getting together and you know, sharing this information. That's why we have a seminar coming up on February 19th. So it's Tuesday, February 19th. If you're interested in the seminar, you can sign up at tristarseminars.com. So that's tristarseminars.com. But I want to say this: if you have any questions as Mr. Weinstein and I talk, feel free to type them into the you know, the thread here, and or even if you're watching the replay, meaning, you know, it isn't live and you're watching a little later, feel free to type it in, because him or I will be able to monitor this and then kind of type back and answer some questions. Obviously, the bulk of the questions will be answered at the seminar. But first and foremost, I want to say that this is, and help me out with this, this isn't a sales pitch seminar. This is
not at all. Purely informational. Just to give my background, I have a degree in accounting and economics, and I practiced in public accounting for about 15 years. Kind of migrated my way into the financial services industry, and have been doing financial planning in various ways for about 22 or 23 years. And college savings and college education is one of my passions. As we said, you know, my son is just finishing up college after a start and stop. So fortunately, I had a plan in place. So it's cost me more than I expected, but there was a plan. So I've been able to fund it very adequately. This is not a sales pitch at all. It's purely educational and informational. I'm a financial consultant with AXA Advisors, and you know, we're happy to spread information and give information of how people can better plan, you know, to as many people as we can. It's kind of part of our mission, and education is crucial, and one of the things that I am most in tune to, and one of my favorite things to do with my clients.
Well, I want to get a first of all, thank you for putting this together, allowing me to offer this to, you know, my clients for free, and then any other individuals that they want to invite, because, you know, they can invite anybody that they'd like to have come to it,
or other parents who are interested. Absolutely.
Before we get into some of the questions I have with regards to what we can expect at this seminar, I'm curious, because obviously you guys were at the studio for quite a long time. How did you guys hear about the studio first?
We had a friend, a neighbor, who is now actually a graduate of the Air Force Academy and an Air Force pilot, who was a couple of cycles ahead, and recommended that we come and take a trial class with him because he was already so invested in it. Take a trial class and try it out for a couple of weeks. And by the end of, I think, the first hour or so that we were there, there was no question that we were going to be there repeatedly for a long time.
That's wonderful to hear. The other question I have, because I get this question not a lot. You know what? I get it more from other martial arts school owners than I get from clients or potential clients. But they know that I run a Christian martial arts school, so I'll have them say, do you have people that are Jewish or Muslim or Hindu or whatever have problems? And I honestly can say that I don't know that I've ever had at least knowingly, that people have had a problem. And you guys are Jewish. I mean, how did you? Was that an obstacle, a stumbling block for you?
No, I know you and I in one of our very first discussions, we discussed it and discussed the participation, the Christian aspect of the school as opposed to your life or, our faith traditions. And it was not an issue for us at all. There are little, Christian pieces and the prayer before and after class, but it was not an issue where, there was religion-based education or anything like that. So not an issue for us, even in the least bit. And I know shortly after Alex graduated, at the time of his bar mitzvah, you were invited and attended, and it was terrific for all of us.
Yeah, you know what? That whole ceremony, that graduation and everything was just wow. What a commitment to do all of that and learn all of those things. And I didn't know there were 613 laws that you had to know. Yeah. So that was amazing. Hey, I know, because you've shared this with me, that there is one particular piece about what we teach at the studio that you've used in your seminars, in fact. Could you share that with our listeners?
Funny, this was the last thing I was going to cover, but you brought it up. In one of my colleagues will be attending the seminar with me, and I use this as part of my financial planning process, and it is hanging on the wall in my office. It's the Black Belt Success System, because it is perfect for what you do, but purely transferable. I tell my people, know what you want, have a plan and a success coach, take consistent action, review your progress, and renew your goals. It works for karate education. It works for public education. It works for financial planning, all kinds of different things. When I was a parent at the studio and sitting through all those classes, it never dawned on me that how much effect that would have on me, 15 years later, that I repeat that piece all the time. The only thing I don't do is,
the hand movement?
The hands. I don't make my colleagues or my clients do the hand pieces with it.
Gotcha. Okay. That's fun. Yeah, and I remember you telling me that because I think it was through Facebook. You shot me a message and say, "Hey, I just did a seminar and I used the Black Belt Success System to teach it." So
I use that 3 or 4 times a week easily. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And always give you credit for it.
Well, no, well, thank you. And truth be told, I actually learned that from a gentleman in the martial arts industry called Tom Kalos. He's the one that introduced that to the martial arts industry. So it wasn't even an original of mine.
You never need to reinvent the wheel. Just find the most appropriate place for it to roll.
I would agree with that. And, that kind of goes into what we're talking about with regards to, the financial planning and getting ready, having your kids go to college. There is no reason to reinvent the wheel. Get the knowledge from the individuals that already know how to do it. And that would be, you. Not only is your son going through college, but obviously you teach those type of things to prepare parents. What would you say is the ideal time? Because when I advertise this, and I've been talking about this, college planning workshop, uh, I was letting people know that it doesn't matter if your kid is 3 years old or if there's a junior or senior in high school. There's still some things that you can do. But ideally, who do you think this seminar would be for? I mean,
Well,
anybody?
the important thing is it's never too early. It's also never too late. Ideally, if you have a child, a student that is kindergarten, first, second, third grade, and you can start building a plan at that point, and you have 10, 11, 12 years before you're going to have to start enacting that plan, that is absolutely ideal. I most certainly have clients, one that I was speaking to yesterday, who is setting up a plan for her granddaughter who is about 10 months old. So they are getting way ahead of the curve. I also have people who will say, my child is a sophomore or junior in high school. We had always planned for them maybe to go to community college or had some other savings set aside, and things happen and life happens. So what do we do to backtrack and move forward? So it's never too early. It's never too late. Ideally, early elementary school is the perfect age to at least to have a plan in your mind and start moving it forward.
What, in your perspective, why do you think college is important in the first place?
You and I have discussed college is not for everybody. My son had a stop and start in college, and that's the way it works with some kids. Some kids go directly from high school and go through and matriculate and do well. Some have to do it a little bit different way. The bottom line to it is that over the course of time, if you take an annual salary, a college graduate will make statistically 71% more income annually than a non-college graduate. So if you take a $50,000 starting salary for a non-college graduate, college graduate will be making about $85,000 to $87,000, and that's not just the first year. It's that 71% every year of their working life. So obviously, there's a lot of multiplication to that. So outside of the maturing process and things that happen in college, the education and the degree in the end will enhance and build your earning power exponentially without a question.
How is really, how is college paid for? I mean, obviously you've got grants, you've got parents that save money, even grandparents that pitch in, but like really, how is college paid for? Because it ain't free. Let's just put it that way. Somebody's
No
paying
doubt
for
about it. No question. There are typically four ways that college is paid for. And in order of hopefully the way that they fall and the best way that you can make it work, number one is always savings. You can never count on the fact that any of the other pieces will work out or come into place for you. So the ability to save and have some money prepared is number one for sure. Number two is scholarships. We all hope that our children are the best and the brightest or the best athletes, or do whatever they need to do to get offered a scholarship. Some do, some don't. Interestingly, private colleges offer significantly more scholarships than public universities. So sometimes, even though the advertised price is more, because they have endowments and scholarships available, sometimes the more financially astute decision is to take scholarship money from a private university. The third way is grants. There are always things available through the universities, through the states, through various employers that will help to fund a student's education. And the last part, the part that we want to rely on the least, is loans. There are federally guaranteed loans. There are private loans. I know of many, many people who will take a home equity loan and borrow against their home value in order to fund college for their students. But we want to try to position that the borrowing and then the subsequent repayment as well, obviously, is the last piece of the equation, not the first.
So then how do how does somebody save then for college then?
There's a lot of ways to save. There's the bank account down the street that doesn't always give you the best bang for your buck or the best return. There are a number of vehicles. There are some tax advantage vehicles, being a uniform gift to minors or a uniform transfer to minors. Those are fairly complicated, although we can explain them in about 5 or 6 minutes and how they work. It takes a little bit of background in order to set the accounts up with a financial advisor and a banker, but it's not difficult to do. There are Coverdell education savings plans, which are very, very tax advantage plans that Congress passed about 10 or 12 years ago, which give you the ability to grow money and not pay tax on it if it's used properly and managed properly for education. There are 529 plans, which come in two pieces. One is prepaid tuition. In other words, at the time that you have a second, third, fourth, fifth grader, you can buy, over the course of time, semesters of college at Illinois universities through a 529 plan. Very good plan in general, because even if your student ends up going out of state or to a private college, all of that money is applicable and can be used just on a different distribution method. And then there are other tax advantage college savings plans, kind of too many to list at this point, but certainly things that we'll discuss. But typically the Coverdell accounts, 529 plans, and our individual savings plans. There are a number of ways to go about creating a long-term savings plan. So those are some of the things that we're going to discuss on the 19th.
I was gonna say, so what is the reason people should be coming to this? Like for me, informational, knowing what or coming to the knowledge of knowing what I don't know, and unfortunately not knowing what you should know, and then learning from the school of hard knocks with something that is that expensive is a big hit. And so, kind of sell everybody else, if you will, on the fact that we should be coming to this.
Be cognizant of the fact that a public university in Illinois right now costs, in today's dollars, about $25,000 a year. A private college somewhere in the Midwest is in the high 40s, $48,000, $49,000 a year.
Now, is that including room and board?
That's all in. That's $48,000, $49,000 all in. 25 to 27 for a public university. The only thing that doesn't include is transportation, assuming you don't have to be flying around and things like that. And those are just sort of averages. Normal economic inflation right now is about 3%. If a loaf of bread this year costs $1, next year it will cost $1.03, and up from there. Unfortunately, college inflation right now is somewhere between 8 and 9%. And those numbers are always compounded. So if you have a 7, 8, 9-year-old who will be going to college in 10 years and then have 4 or 5 years of college experience to go through, just take those numbers with 8 or 9% inflation and understand in today's dollars what it's going to cost you then. That number will shock you and make your head spin. But then on the other side of that equation, we can, through some of the education, show you without bankrupting yourself or mortgaging your house or not going out to eat for dinner or going on your family trip, how you can work the four pieces of college funding to have as much savings as you can, so that you get some scholarships, you try to get some grants, and you borrow as little as possible. So those are the things that we're going to key on: the tax advantage savings, and how much it's going to cost, and how you can go about creating a savings plan.
Now we're going to do this. Then I just want to remind everybody we're doing this on Tuesday, February 19th. It'll be at the Karate Studio. We are closed for normal classes the 18th and 19th just because of President's Day. But we have this special seminar, the college planning, the free, I should say, college planning workshop for TriStar parents, but then anybody else that would like to be involved. So what I've done is I've also I will be sharing this on my personal wall as well. so this video so that some of my personal Facebook friends can see it and what have you. And then I'm going to make sure that everybody at the studio, by the way, this week got the information with regards to it. I've had people sign up and those type of things. The space is limited. I just want to remind everybody, because the studio is only so big. We're not going to have Mr. Weinstein in both rooms because he can't be physically. So he'll only be in the front room. So we can only fit, a limited number of people in that front room. So it's kind of first come, first served to a certain degree. So make sure that you go to tristarseminars.com. All of the information should be actually on this video. The link is on this video. So you got to do is click it and go there. What else have I not asked about this seminar that is pertinent information? Because I don't know that I'm a great interviewer, so I would rather just ask,
you do a great job. You see, the important thing, the thing that people always ask me, it's at 6:15, it's right in the middle of the dinner hour. Yeah, refreshments will be served.
Okay.
So I think you've covered most of the things. We know that ideally over the long term course of time, our children, our students will have much, much greater earning power with a college education. We understand that it is expensive. It's expensive today, and those costs are not going to go down in any way, shape, or form. There are a number of ways to save, and there are a number of tax advantage ways to save. In doing it as efficiently as possible, we're going to save as much as we can in the best ways that we can, get to the bottom line, have our students go to college, borrow as little as possible, and have them, fly out of our nests as successful young adults.
Yeah, no, and that's a good thing, right? I mean, money is stressful. So if we don't take advantage of planning ahead of time, we're going to be so stressed out. And then, I don't want to be using my retirement to be paying down my son's college loans.
Absolutely. And as you touched on, as we mentioned very early on, the Black Belt Success System, if you apply it to college funding, know what you want is for your child to have a college education. Have a plan. We'll build a plan, including tax advantage savings, other ways to save. A success coach, a mentor, that's what we do. That's what my colleagues and I do. Take consistent action. Make regular deposits into your college savings account. Review your progress. See how much you have. See how much inflation is affecting it and what you're going to be able to do, and renew your goals. Sometimes that means adding. Sometimes you're doing so well that you don't need to add. Sometimes that means changing a little bit of a mindset as to community college or four-year university or graduate universities. But that Black Belt Success System fits perfectly into college planning. Know what you want, have a plan and a success coach, review your progress and renew your goals.
Yeah. Well, I just want to remind everybody that if you have additional questions, obviously, Mr. Weinstein will be at the seminar to answer them. If there's some minor questions, go ahead and put them on this Facebook post and we'll try to answer them. But if not, go to tristarseminars.com. And do me a favor, if you would, those of you that are watching, go ahead and share this on your Facebook walls, and also, hey, send it to in Messenger. Send it to some of your family or friends that that could benefit from learning this information, to have that plan, from a success coach, have that plan in order to make sure that they have the money to pay for their kids' college, or at least the majority of it. So, Mr. Weinstein, any final thoughts or things that I need to?
I appreciate the invitation. I feel honored to be able to give back to some of the TriStar families, because we benefited from it so much over the course of time and still do on a very, very regular basis. So it's my pleasure to be back with this program with you.
It was kind of nostalgic when you came over to the studio just for us to meet preliminary, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The pictures on the walls from some of the kids when my son was a student there yeah.
Yeah, because those pictures, you saw those students live.
Yes. Those were his peers at the time. So it was, we were looking at them and naming the kids that we all remembered, and some of the ones that each of us are still in contact with. So.
Yeah, boy, it's really neat with Facebook to be able to keep in touch with people,
Yep.
So, all right, well, I appreciate your time, sir, and we will see you at the seminar on the 19th. Again, real quickly, if you want to sign up for the seminar, go to tristarseminars.com and do me a favor, if you would, please, even if you're not interested in this, please share this on your Facebook wall. Or if you know some specific people that you can message it to through Facebook, I would greatly appreciate that. So, Mr. Weinstein, thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, have a good day, sir.
Thank you. You too.